All right, let's really dig into something profound today. You imagine a world where the very concept of money isn't essential for survival. Sounds pretty radical, right?
Yeah, almost utopian.
Exactly. Today, we're taking a deep dive into precisely that idea, drawing insights from the Moneyless Manifesto. Live well, live rich, live free. This book challenges us to fundamentally reconsider our relationship with money and its pervasive impact on our lives.
What's particularly striking, I think, is its central premise. The belief that we absolutely need money to live is presented not as a fact, but as an illusion.
Illusion. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So our deep dive will unravel the hidden consequences of this illusion, personally, socially, ecologically, and then, crucially, explore tangible pathways toward, a moneyless existence.
Okay, so our mission today is to pull out the most vital takeaways from this material, to help you grasp not just what moneyless living might entail, but why embracing such a philosophy could be incredibly transformative and how people are already experimenting with these ideas.
Right.
This is where it really gets thought-provoking. Definitely.
So the book immediately cuts to the core of our societal structure, questioning the very assumption that we must pay simply to exist.
Right, that fundamental rent on life.
Yeah. The author views money as a medium that paradoxically separates us from both community and nature.
Mm.
It funnels our innate interdependence through an anonymous system, fostering a sense of artificial independence. The idea that I don't need anyone's help, I can just pay for whatever I need.
And if we broaden this perspective, money fundamentally quantifies everything, often stripping away the unique value and, the intricate relationships inherent in things.
How do you mean exactly?
Well, think about it. A magnificent 500-year-old tree becomes nothing more than, say, 10,000 pounds worth of wood products.
Ah, okay. It loses its intrinsic value.
Precisely. This profound disconnection from the origins and impact of what we consume, the book argues, directly fuels our culture of waste.
Right.
The author even points to a DeFra report highlighting bread as the UK's #1 wasted food item. Just bread.
Wow. And this isn't just about ecological impact, is it?
Not at all.
The author posits that money plays an astonishingly underestimated role in what he calls our historically unrivaled inability to live in the present moment.
That's a powerful phrase.
Isn't it? He shares a powerful personal anecdote from his own moneyless days, recalling how he simply stopped worrying about tomorrow because every day seemed to provide for me.
Which led to a deep sense of acceptance and peace, yeah.
Exactly, a kind of radical presence.
This really makes you wonder, why do we passively accept this situation? Why is this our norm?
What does the book say?
The author connects this deeply to our sense of self. He contrasts the skin-encapsulated ego, a sort of narrow, isolated sense of self modern culture promotes,
Okay.
with our holistic self, which naturally recognizes our deep connections and dependencies, our actual reality, you could say.
So this isn't new.
No, he traces this separation back through history, arguing that developments like the cultivation of fire, language, linear time, measurement, agriculture, and early technologies, they all contributed to our gradual estrangement from nature and true community, bit by bit.
And the book also extends this analysis to our economic structures, right? Like division of labor.
Yes, exactly. It suggests that while concepts like the division of labor and economies of scale might seem efficient on their own,
They have a downside when money gets involved.
precisely, when married to money, they birth significant social and ecological problems.
Such as?
Well, this union often leads to jobs that are, repetitive, boring, and unfulfilling, and results in widespread environmental destruction. Think of the deep sadness left in the wake of clear-cut ancient forests. It's a spiritual cost, too.
Okay, so if money's presented as the problem, what's the proposed alternative?
Well, the main alternative the book champions is a gift economy.
A gift economy.
Uh-huh.
What does that actually mean in practice?
It's where giving and receiving happen on a largely unconditional basis. You give because you can, you receive because you need. It's a stark contrast to the free market system.
Which turns everything into a commodity.
Yeah, the author contends it transforms every aspect of our planet into a mere commodity to be bought and sold. He reminds us that gift economies were actually far more common in ancient cultures and among indigenous peoples, like many native communities.
Right, it wasn't always like this.
Exactly. And he even argues that nature itself operates on a gift economy. Think about fungi, pioneer species, keystone species. They all contribute without expecting an immediate direct return. It's about the health of the whole system.
That sounds like a beautiful ideal. But, what does this actually look like in the real world? Is it happening anywhere?
Well, the book provides compelling examples. The author recounts organizing a free shop event in Bristol.
Yeah.
Participants enjoyed meals made from salvaged and wild food, took items freely from a free shop, and attended workshops on topics like make and mend, all without any money changing hands.
Wow. Just sharing and contributing.
Yeah. And he also points to the Burning Man Festival as kind of larger scale experiment embodying this philosophy, at least in principle.
Interesting. But that feels quite radical. Maybe overwhelming for most people.
Sure, and the book wisely acknowledges that. For many, a complete shift to a gift economy might seem, well, daunting.
Right.
So it thoughtfully outlines transitional stepping stones, things people can do now.
Like what?
These include local currencies like time banks and LaTeX local exchange trading systems. They involve the exchange of credits, but crucially, in time banks, everyone's time is valued equally. An hour is an hour, regardless of the task.
That's a key difference.
It is. And bartering, of course, is another direct, straightforward exchange option. Good old-fashioned swapping.
And what about things like the resource-based economy? I know that comes up sometimes.
Yes, the author delves into that too. The resource-based economy, or RBE, popularized by movements like the Zeitgeist movement.
Right.
This concept proposes a high-technology, global, non-monetary economy where human ingenuity is collectively directed towards creating efficient and sustainable technologies driven by collective abundance rather than artificial scarcity.
Sounds ambitious.
Very. And while the author aligns with its core intentions, the abundance, the sustainability, he also thoughtfully raises questions about the potential role of high technology itself in planetary destruction. It's not a simple fix.
Okay, that gives us the philosophical framework. Now let's turn to the really practical side. How does someone actually start building a moneyless life?
This is where the book introduces the POP model,
TRP.
Progress on the Path. It's a flexible framework for individuals to transition towards moneyless living in stages that make sense for their own unique circumstances.
So it's not all or nothing.
Exactly. Think of it as finding what your A, B, and Z look like. Maybe A is starting a small garden, B is joining a local Skillshare group, and Z is maybe eventually moving entirely off-grid. It's a personal journey.
Okay, let's break down the POP model. What's the first area? Shelter and land.
Yes. And for many, this is the biggest hurdle to a self-sufficient life. Access to land.
Because of private ownership.
Right. Private ownership, the book emphasizes, is a human construct, a story we tell, and a relatively modern one. It cites a startling statistic that 1% of people now own 70% of the land globally.
Wow.
And historical events like the Enclosure Acts essentially forced people off the land and into cities and the wage economy. It's a historical process.
But the book offers solutions, right? Not just problems.
Definitely. It details how people are building low-impact dwellings, some costing as little as, say, £3,000 less than a new sofa.
Seriously, like what?
Examples include earthships made from recycled waste, like old tires and glass bottles.
I've heard of those.
Yeah. Or straw bale houses and various round structures like benders, yurts, and tippas, all constructed from local or reclaimed materials.
What about planning permission and all that?
Ah, yes, the practicalities. You might need to navigate planning permission, either by building first and applying retrospectively, which is risky, or with careful pre-planning. It's a known challenge.
Are there other ways to live rent-free?
Absolutely. WWOOFing Worldwide Opportunities on Organic Farms is a well-known example. You work on a farm in exchange for food and lodging.
Cool.
The book also discusses squatting, highlighting the Grow Heathrow Community Project, which reportedly saw a significant reduction in local crime.
Interesting impact.
And even abandoned medieval towns in Spain are cited as potential eco-aldeas or eco-villages, places waiting for people.
And for the truly adventurous.
Yes. There's even living in caves described as the most original of human homes, though the author notes it requires extreme resilience, being a double hard bastard in colder climates.
Right. Not for everyone.
Definitely not. Traditional black houses from Scotland, simple dry stone structures with thatch roofs, are also given as examples of homes built with readily available local materials, using what's there.
What about things like council tax or insurance? How does that work moneylessly?
Good question. Regarding council tax, the book briefly touches on claims by some freemen. It's a sort of fringe legal philosophy suggesting you aren't obligated to pay if you haven't consented to a contract, but it does note the legal complexities and risks involved. It's definitely not straightforward advice.
And insurance.
For insurance, the moneyless solution proposed is cultivating strong, loving relationships, and interdependent real community. Your community becomes your safety net.
Relying on each other. Okay, let's move to food and water. This feels incredibly tangible for everyday life.
It really does, and the book directly challenges Milton Friedman's famous phrase, "There's no such thing as a free lunch,"
How so?
by pointing out that foraging is a living, breathing rebuttal. Food is literally growing free all around us if you know where to look.
So foraging is key. What kind of things?
Well, foraging unlocks a world of wild protein and nourishment. The book mentions options like leaf curds made from stinging nettles or wild garlic. Apparently, 12 kilograms of nettles yields 1 kilograms of curd.
Wow, nutrient dense.
Very. And yes, it even discusses roadkill as a potential food source.
Roadkill.
Yeah, it cites statistics like 3 million pheasants, 800,000 rabbits, 50,000 deer and squirrels killed on UK roads annually. The argument is it's there, it's protein. Why let it go to waste if it's fresh and safe? It's definitely provocative.
It is provocative. Okay, what about growing your own food?
Well, interestingly, the author cites Jared Diamond's argument that agriculture itself was a catastrophe from which we have never recovered, and possibly the worst mistake in human history.
Strong words. Why?
Because it led to social hierarchies, disease, dependence on staple crops, and separation from diverse wild foods. But acknowledging we mostly live in an agricultural world now, alternatives are discussed.
Such as?
Things like seed saving and swapping within communities, focusing on growing perennial vegetables, which are often less labor-intensive and more nutritious than annuals, and utilizing no-dig gardening principles advocated by experts like Charles Dowding, working with the soil, not against it.
And what about food waste? You mentioned bread earlier.
Yes, this is huge. The book delves into fraganism, or skipping, which involves salvaging edible food from supermarket bins. It notes that an estimated 20 million tons of food is wasted in Britain from plow to plate.
20 million tons.
That's
incredible.
Other innovative ideas include rehoming ex-battery chickens for eggs through groups like the British Hen Welfare Trust, giving them a second life.
That's great.
And creating fruit harvesting networks, like Abundance, which redistribute unused fruit from local garden trees that would otherwise rot, mapping the local bounty.
And water.
For water, the book suggests rainwater harvesting using, say, industrial waste containers and tapping into natural springs, wells, or boreholes where possible.
Okay.
But always emphasizing that water should be treated as sacred, not just a resource to be exploited.
Right. Okay, moving on to hygiene and clothing. How do you manage personal care without buying products?
Well, the author shares his own experience first. He stopped using soap years before going moneyless.
No soap at all.
Nope. He describes skin as a little micro-ecosystem that regulates itself and advocates for plant-based alternatives like soapwort if you really need something for cleaning.
Interesting. What other practical tips are there?
Oh, the book is packed with them. For toothpaste, ground wild fennel seeds and cuttlefish bone, which you can often find washed up on beaches.
Resourceful.
Haircuts through skill-sharing groups or volunteering at apprentice salons. Pumice stone for body hair removal. Apple cider vinegar is a natural deodorant.
Apple cider vinegar, does that work?
Apparently so. And for washing clothes, using a mangle those old hand-cranked wringers, which you can often find for free on sites like FreeCycle, low-tech and effective.
And cleaning the house.
For home cleaning, it features tips for using 100% local ingredients from Steph Hafferty. Think vinegar, baking soda, plant infusions like hyssop, and even using pine cones as dish scrubbers.
Pine cones.
Amazing.
Now, what about clothing? Modern fashion is pretty resource-intensive.
Hugely. The book presents a strong critique, highlighting the immense environmental cost, like 2,700 liters of water for one single cotton t-shirt.
It's staggering.
And nylon manufacturing produces nitrous oxide, a greenhouse gas nearly 300 times more potent than carbon dioxide. The footprint is massive.
So what are the moneyless solutions here?
Well, immediate options include utilizing charity shops and clothes swaps, the reuse economy. Also, getting creative by reinventing old clothes, taking them apart, combining them uniquely.
Upcycling.
Exactly. And for long-term self-sufficiency, the book suggests making your own clothes. From materials like buckskin, using traditional brain tanning methods.
Brain tanning?
Yeah, it's an ancient method using the animal's own brain fats to tan the hide, or using sheep's fleece, which is often just discarded by farmers now because the market price is so low, turning waste into resource again.
Okay, next up, energy and technology. This seems like a potential conflict. Wanting to live simply, but maybe needing some tech.
It's a nuanced area. While high technologies are often seen as part of our current problems, the resource extraction, the pollution, the author acknowledges they can play a transitional role.
How so?
He highlights projects like open source ecology. It's fascinating they empower people to collaboratively design and DIY complex machines like wind turbines, solar panels, even tractors, making technology accessible and repairable.
So, not rejecting technology outright, but rethinking our relationship with it.
Precisely. And living off-grid, the book suggests, involves reconnecting with natural rhythms for lighting, maybe opting for candles or simple oil lamps instead of relying solely on industrially produced light sources.
And cooking.
For cooking, it proposes building highly efficient alternatives like earth ovens, hay box ovens, which use retained heat, or rocket stoves. These can drastically reduce wood consumption compared to open fires.
Saving fuel. What about heating homes?
The book introduces masonry stoves. These are incredibly efficient, capable of heating an entire medium-sized house both upstairs and down, with just, say, a 45-minute burn on a moderately cold day.
Wow, that's efficient.
Very. And they effectively use wood scraps like prunings, brash, and slab wood. The book suggests sourcing this kind of wood for free from local joiners or carpenters' workshops, again, using waste streams.
And personal tech like computers or phones.
Well, the author suggests finding computer component parts on platforms like FreeCycle or Freegal and collaborating with someone from a local free economy group to assemble them. Build it yourself, repair it yourself.
Community help again.
Yes. He personally chooses to avoid mobile phones altogether.
Bold move these days.
It is. The book also champions open source software. Linux as an alternative to Microsoft Windows, OpenOffice, or LibreOffice instead of Microsoft Office. Free, community-developed tools. And it emphasizes data encryption tools like TrueCrypt for maintaining privacy.
Okay, let's shift to education and community. This feels central.
Absolutely. And it starts with a really important question about the true purpose of education.
Which is?
The book quotes Ivan Illich, who famously stated, "School is the advertising agency which makes you believe that you need the society as it is."
Oof, that's a strong critique.
It is. It fundamentally challenges the idea that traditional schooling primarily prepares us for, in the book's words, mindless, tedious, degrading jobs, rather than for fulfilled lives.
So what are the alternatives presented?
It explores powerful models like home education, which the author's friends successfully utilized. They found it offered a stimulating and individualized learning environment.
But what about socialization? That's always the question with homeschooling.
Right, and the book addresses that, demonstrating that children can develop robust social skills through various clubs, activities, and community involvement outside formal schooling, maybe even better skills, arguably.
And free skilling, you mentioned that earlier.
Yes, free skilling is highlighted as a practical, community-based education model. The book describes Bristol free skilling evenings where local people just share diverse knowledge and resources without money exchanging hands.
Like what kind of skills?
Anything, from learning to make sourdough bread to basic plumbing, bike repair, knitting, whatever skills people in the community have to offer. It fosters genuine economic resilience and self-sufficiency. You learn from your neighbors.
That sounds fantastic. It builds community directly.
Exactly. And community building, the book stresses, is absolutely central. It makes the point that there is no community possible among a people who do not need each other.
Money makes us feel like we don't need each other.
That's the argument. Money, by enabling this false sense of independence, can actually erode this fundamental human need for connection and mutual reliance.
So how do we actively build community, according to the book?
It suggests practical ways. Organizing street parties, maybe getting advice from groups like Streets Alive, initiating simple weekly dinner parties with neighbors, creating community chessboards in local parks just to encourage interaction. Small, simple things.
Things anyone could try.
Yeah. It even touches on unique ways to spark interaction, like offering free hugs in public spaces. And it notes the irony of security guards sometimes preventing such acts while allowing all sorts of commercial activity.
Priorities, right.
Right, there's even a section on making local booze for free, instructions on how to make cider from foraged apples using wild yeast and repurposed bottles, sharing the harvest, sharing a drink.
Resourceful again. Okay, last section of the POP model. Health and well-being. This includes sex, apparently.
Yes, it covers the whole spectrum. And what's truly insightful here is how deeply our health is interconnected with our relationship to the planet.
How so?
The book argues that industrialized healthcare is inherently unsustainable. It requires a vast global industrial system for every single syringe, dialysis machine, or catheter. That implies reliance on practices like oil drilling, mining, complex manufacturing, the whole industrial complex.
Things we don't usually associate with healthcare.
Exactly, and it boldly challenges some basic assumptions. Is fearing death actually healthy? Is disease merely an invasion of foreign bacteria? Or is it about imbalance? Do we overvalue technological fixes compared to natural, preventative lifestyles? Big questions.
It sounds like it questions the very foundations.
It does, and the author shares a very personal anecdote about a vasectomy infection.
Oh.
After antibiotics proved ineffective, he recounts curing himself using sage tea, a comfrey poultice, and simply trusting nature alongside the healing power of intimacy.
Wow.
This powerful experience, he reflects, really highlights how pervasive the narrative of industrial medicines are the only option truly is. He found another way by trusting his body and nature.
That's quite a story. Does it connect this to bigger issues like lifespan?
Yes, it prompts a critical question for us to consider. How much should we strive to extend individual human lifespan, especially when considering the health of the broader ecosystem?
The planetary context?
Right. The author notes the dramatic world population growth from 4.2 billion in 1979 to 7 billion in 2011, a 67% rise in just 32 years.
Huge increase.
So he proposes that our optimal lifespan and our healthcare system should be one that allows the entire biosphere to flourish, respectfully acknowledging natural limits.
Well, limits again.
Yes. Limits, he asserts, are absolutely integral to healthy systems, just as they are for a healthy child's development or for a well-balanced ecosystem where no single element overwhelms the others. Limits aren't inherently bad.
Okay, so what are the practical, moneyless health solutions offered?
Well, the book offers practical insights into herbal remedies, focusing on commonly available plants. It highlights the general uses of yarrow for fevers and colds, garlic as a powerful anti-infective. He says, eat it until you smell of garlic.
Potent advice.
Elderflower for colds and flu, plantain, that common weed for stings, wounds, even hay fever. Thyme as an anti-infective and antispasmodic.
Useful stuff.
Very, but always with the crucial emphasis on correct plant identification. That's vital for safety.
Of course. And sex and contraception. How did that fit in?
The discussion extends there too, critiquing the unsustainability of many industrialized products like condoms, coils, and pills due to their manufacturing and disposal impacts.
So what are the sustainable alternatives?
Well, it suggests things like chastity, masturbation, and various natural family planning methods like the rhythm method, tracking cervical mucus, basal body temperature. These have varying degrees of efficacy, it notes.
Right, they require diligence.
Absolutely. For lubricants, the book mentions Chondrus crispus, or Irish moss seaweed, which creates a natural gel. And with a touch of humor, it references the historical Roman dildo, supposedly made from a broom handle.
Okay, covering all bases.
And finally, a fascinating suggestion to shift our language from Mother Earth, which can imply a passive resource, to Lover Earth, fostering a different, more active, reciprocal, and respectful relationship.
Lover Earth.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Okay, so we've covered a huge amount. What does this truly mean for you, the listener? How do we wrap this up?
Well, I think we've explored this profound idea that money isn't just a simple tool, is it?
No, it's presented as a deeply embedded cultural mechanism, something that shapes our very perception of self, community, and nature.
And often leads to disconnection and, frankly, unnecessary waste.
Yeah.
So if we connect this to the bigger picture, the book issues a powerful call to action. It's asking us to question our most fundamental beliefs, isn't it?
To challenge the underlying narratives, the stories that support our current systems.
And to truly recognize our deep interdependence with all life. Moving beyond the concept of money, in this view, is both an act of resistance against old ways of living.
And a creative act, giving birth to new ways.
Exactly. Eroding the old, creating the new.
And crucially, this isn't necessarily about sudden radical leaps for everyone, is it?
Not at all. It's about taking small personal steps on your own unique POP model. Your progress on the path.
Finding what works for you.
Yes, finding what makes you feel more alive and connected, whether that's simply growing a bit of your own food, participating in a skill-sharing group, or even just spending more time walking barefoot in nature, connecting in simple ways.
It brings it back to personal choice and action.
Which leaves us with an important question for you, the listener, to consider. If we truly, deeply embraced our interconnectedness with all life, would we still prioritize our individual desires over the health and flourishing of the entire planet?
That's the core of it, isn't it?
It is. And flowing from that, what small shift could you make today or this week to begin aligning your life just a little bit more with the rhythms of a more regenerative, gift-based economy?
Food for thought. And for a final, truly provocative thought from the book to mull over.
Oh yes, the ending.
The author concludes by saying he hopes his closest friends will make practical things from his flesh and bones after his death. Shoes, belts, tools, drums.
It's intense.
It is. And that his beloved will then play a beautiful beat on his tan skin, echoing a timeless rhythm of life and death, participation and renewal.
Wow, talk about full circle.
It's a powerful image, isn't it? Of ultimate connection, ultimate participation in the cycles of nature. Something truly fundamentally beyond any monetary value.
Definitely leaves you thinking.